Welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, and today I'm joined by Rupert Keys of Key Scape and Task Academy. So we're going to find out a bit more about Task and the future of the industry. As the founder of the Landscapers Circle and the Limitless Landscapers podcast, I am here to help you get more money, time and freedom to make your life and business truly limitless. Through my experiences as the owner of a garden design and landscaping business, and through tried and tested methods, if you want help with the marketing, managing and growing of your business, then you are in the right place. If you are a landscaper, garden designer, horticultural business or a supplier to the industry, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show. Hello, Rupert, and welcome to the podcast. Do you want to start off by giving everyone a bit of a background about you?
Well, I'm Rupert Keys. I've been running a company called Key Scape Design Construction since 1993, crikey, 29 years. And I've sort of started small, and like everyone does, and then sort of built it up over time. But I think by being involved with things like show gardens, that's helped me develop Key Scape. And I've always had a real passion for being outdoors anyway, from even a small age. My grandfather was a head gardener, so obviously it runs in the veins. So we sort of developed, and then in 1999, my wife Ruth joined Key Scape. She's a qualified landscape architect. And so from that moment, obviously with behind every man, there's a great woman. So we even developed the business even further. And with having Ruth on board on the design aspect, obviously, then we got into employing people more. We just went from strength to strength, and never really looked back. And then I've always had that passion of also teaching people, young people or people that are already in the industry. And I hadn't sort of realized this until about 5 years ago, when the APL asked me to go and help with some training up at the Myers Code College with the APL apprenticeship scheme. And from that moment, I did realize that I really enjoy this part of the industry, because I feel like I'm giving lots back, and any sort of insights into the industry and techniques that I've learned over the years, I can sort of teach the students doing that. And then I sort of also went and did some training at Cotswold Gardening School to garden designers, because garden designers, a lot don't sort of know the insights into hard landscaping. So it's, and it's very easy to talk about something that you're passionate about, and you think, or it seems like you know more than others. So 2 years ago, I think it was all to do with this lockdown, and I realized that I really needed to do something. And if it wasn't at that moment, then I don't think I would ever have the time to do it. And because of that sort of break of, a month of lockdown, I decided to sort of take a sort of a month sabbatical, where I would then just concentrate on getting the foundations of Task going. And then about sort of 6 months after that, I sat at a dinner table with a friend of mine, and we started talking, and she had lots of different roles, being a freelance, in marketing, and she needed a day or two of work. And her name is Lucy Bilcliffe, and she is now my operations manager. So, from that glass of wine over the dinner party, Lucy is a real strong bond with Task, and probably, the other face of Task now. And I really couldn't have got to this point where we're at, where we're almost just about to launch, without her.
And explain Task a bit more for people who they should already know you. I know you, and so does many people in the industry.
Very
but
kind.
For people that don't know much about Task, explain a bit about what Task is, what you're going to offer, and what it does for the industry.
Okay. So Task is, as we know, it's a brand new training academy for land-based studies. And I say land-based because we're a bit more sort of broad in what we're going to give our students, although landscaping will be the predominant subject.
Right.
So we will be teaching natural stone paving, brick work, block work, decking, clay paving, and we'll also be doing porcelain. We'll be touching on that. And we will be also teaching things like artificial grass. And I know that's not a huge popular subject with a lot of people, but you know, that's a different argument. So we'll skip that for the minute.
Skip that bit.
But we will be teaching every element of being a landscaper in whether it be construction or actually the building blocks of becoming a landscaper. So we will be teaching health and safety, first aid, and also we're going to have people to come in, our training partners will be coming in and teaching our students how to actually start up a business, or if they've already started a business, then what are those building blocks of starting a business? And that's fundamental. I mean, that's something that not a lot of us know about. We just dive in there and think everything will just sort of fall on our feet around us. So, you know, for that sort of naivety of thinking that you're indestructible especially when you're young, but that is a fundamental part of, of running a business, really. It's knowing all, that health and safety, legislation. So we're quite broad in what we want to teach, and we've got some great training partners involved throughout the industry. I mean, we've got people that will come in and make, with timber jointing, and we've got a guy who's a little bit bohemian in his way, and he can carve spoons, and so I mean it's that's sort of the fun aspect, but he's incredibly good at what he does in other areas to do with timber and sustainability. And that's something else at the forefront of Task. We want to be as sustainable as we can. And we'll be teaching about suds. We've got a company that makes planters that capture rainwater, and they're experts in sustainable drainage systems. So I mean, it's a very, like I said, very broad in what we're going to be delivering.
And what do you hope the impact, because there are training opportunities everywhere for landscapers, particularly like upskilling them and training them. Why Task over other training providers? What makes you uniquely different to others?
I mean, I think we're all trying to do the same thing. I think I know we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to upskill our industry, and although our location is a big benefit to many people, I think, but I suppose Task, because we have all of those industry partners and training partners that people can get the different perspectives on things. It's not about me. It's not the Rupert Keys show. It's about our whole industry, and I think that our ethos is that we want to show our students that they will get that variety of education for our industry, and they can go away back to their companies, and then possibly then they will train other apprentices or the younger generation and upskill them. So it has a knock-on effect, but we are all trying to do the same thing, and I don't think that anyone should have a monopoly in training academies. I think we should all come together and train almost in the same way, so people are getting those standards for our industry. So I mean, our USP, I think everyone has their own USP,
Yeah.
for themselves. And, I know the other academies are great. They're developing in their own way. But like I said, we're all trying to do the same thing. And we need to come together and make sure that we are delivering and upskilling our future generation of landscapers.
Oh, 100% agree. What I see from Task as being, quite different, your USP, is the collaborative approach. So it's collaborating with a lot of industry partners, training partners, and delivering your training in a collaborative way. Also the range of, the courses and what you're going to be touching upon seems to be more broad than, say, specifically just paving courses and stuff like that. So that's what I see, but as an outsider looking in. And what sort of impact are you looking to make on the industry? Because obviously we all know we want to upskill people, we want to up-level the industry, we want to make the industry great and keep it great, I suppose. But what impact do you hope that Task will have on the industry going forward?
I think we just want to give back, really, and actually make people aware that there are academies or colleges out there that people can go to for not just about learning how to lay paving properly, but advice. I had someone ring up this morning just for a quick phone call asking a snippet of advice. And I think that I would like to see the industry sort of see Task as one of the places to go for enhancing their staff or upskilling their staff. And it would be lovely to be in a place where Task has their own accreditation, and people recognize that if they come on one of our courses, although we are accredited by Lantra, I also want to have in maybe 5-10 years time to say, people say to their employees, well, I have Task accreditation. That is one of my goals, really. But how far down the line that will be, I don't know. But that would be a good place. But as long as our students go away feeling better about themselves and they've learned something, then we've done our job.
And obviously I own my own landscaping company, and when you're looking at training for staff, there's always the element of price. So how would you overcome the sort of price objections when it comes to putting your staff on training programs like yourselves?
Well, I think we've sort of chosen a fee for our students to come that is appealing to most people, because we understand that people have to, companies have to take their staff away from their daily jobs. They have to accommodate them, they have to feed them, and then they have to pay for the course. Yes, it's an investment, which I think most companies should invest in their staff anyway. But we've sort of put it at an affordable rate, for companies, knowing that companies, can't afford. It could end up to be thousands of pounds for a 4-day course. And we don't want that. Otherwise, we won't get people through the door. So we priced it at a certain bracket to make it more appealing and more affordable for people. But also, we don't want to make it look too cheap, because then, our standards then slip, like everything. Like everything. So that's hopefully, fingers crossed, that that will happen. But I mean, we've got an introductory rate at the moment anyway, on our website, and then once we're 3-6 months down the line, then we'll review that, and just see how. But we want to get people's feedback on what they think of the costs.
Because I think that is a big thing, because like you say, you're right, it isn't just the cost of the course, it's the cost of people not doing the job and earning the money for the company and yourself, and having to go away and stuff like that. So being mindful of all of that, I think is a good place to start. I mean, we're always open to know what people's views are on every aspect, not just the cost, and we'll try and accommodate as much as we can. Obviously we have a cap on what we need, or a minimum of what we need, and
So yeah, we're quite accommodating, I think.
Yeah. And what
time will tell, won't it?
and what sort of numbers are you anticipating on your courses? Are you looking to start small and grow, or how's that going to work?
So we're going to we have put a cap on our courses at 12.
Okay.
However, we're looking at probably it being around about the 8.
Yeah.
To make it worthwhile, 8's a good number. On the APL courses up at Myerscough on the apprenticeship scheme, that's sort of 6 to 8. And having worked on that, at least you can give the attention to the
Yes.
students at that number. But we've done our research. 12 is the absolute tops.
Yeah.
But we are also going to do other aspects with talks from industry insiders and people incredibly well known in the industry to come and do talks. And
Yeah.
but that will that could be up to 40 people.
Yeah.
We can accommodate up to 40 people, not in the classroom, but in the training barn that we have.
Okay, that'd be good. And why should landscapers care about upskilling their lads? What is the importance of this? You can have a landscaping company, you're busy, particularly at the moment, doesn't seem to be drying up anytime soon, which is great.
Yeah.
But some people might think, what's the point? We can just carry on with work. We've got loads of inquiries, we're stacked up. Why?
I think at the moment it's really hard for industry, especially the good companies that are gaining lots of work coming through. But they've got to be really careful, because people can fall behind. They might be really busy now, but say in 6 months or 12 months time, they might not be. So they should be looking at sort of future-proofing themselves and giving that opportunity to their staff to, they're investing in their staff to invest in their business. And I think by sending their staff on a training course, sort of whether they book them now or for 6 months time, then I think they might just fall behind.
Yeah.
Because you need to keep on top of the industry, and you could plod along and their staff might not develop in the right time frame.
Yeah.
Because they want those younger staff or the new staff to build up so they can then become, say, a foreman or a supervisor. So if they're learning, then that opportunity will be there for them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was only being devil's advocate, because I 100% know that everyone should be invested in, keeping themselves abreast of new techniques, what's going on in the industry, training massively behind that. But yeah, sometimes some people get so caught up in being busy, they forget that there's still learning to take place. There's still people to inspire, people to move forward, people to develop within their company to move them to the next level. So I think, yeah, you're right. It's just me being devil's advocate on that one.
Well, I mean, I've been guilty of it. A lot of people are thinking about upskilling their staff and giving their staff extra training, but it's, well, when are we going to be able to do that? We're so busy, we can't release them now.
Yeah.
We might be able to afford it now, but we can't release them because we're just too busy. So yeah, I mean, I've been guilty of that in the past. But yeah, and I wish I'd done more of it. But in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, isn't it? So
yeah, I think we've all been guilty of it. And I think it's all about coming back to planning as well. So if you can plan the training into your year, your, whatever, how you plan your business, then it's more likely to take place then. And also if the lads are on board and behind it and say, we need this to help us get to the next level, then that's always another driver, I think, if they're behind it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know lots of companies already who've expressed an interest in sending their staff, but they're going to sort of stagger it. So if they've got 6 staff, they'll send 2 1 month and then the other 2 the next month, and just stagger it that way, and it's not such a great hit on the business itself. So yeah, it's, of course I'm going to try and sell it, but it's it's just one of those things that I'd wish I'd done, and I'd wish that there were more training academies around when I had more staff, and 10 years ago, and maybe I might have been in a different position because of it.
You've been busy at RHS Malvern. You've just finished there with, I know, an APL Garden underneath the surface. Beneath the surface.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that was a very interesting garden. Really like that. That was a take on their last year's garden, wasn't it? What lies beneath.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you've probably seen the video, but it was a comment made by Mark Gregory, actually, on our feedback from our judging last year. And he just mentioned, he said, it's great, all these aspects of seeing what lies beneath, but it would be nice to actually see it in situ as if you would build it.
Yeah.
So I sort of took that on board, thought about it, and that's exactly what I did. So we had lots of cut through sections of, but at ground level, as if it was,
still being laid, I suppose.
Being laid. And just, it's things like the screening board just staying in from, the block paving, and just see those layers of, membrane, MOT, sand, and, mortar. And I even kept in the spaces for the paving. And so, people got really interested in going, well, oh yeah, why have they done that? Why? That's a lot of stone underneath that bed of mortar. But that's, what we're taught to do with standards. So it's like, then you have to explain that to people. So it was good fun. It opened up a lot of eyes to a lot of people, and even comments from other landscapers thinking, oh, maybe we aren't doing it right after all. Yeah. But, that's, they weren't APL, I hasten to add.
You hasten to add, it wasn't an APL member.
But yeah, it's really interesting how, everyone does it a different way, but everyone needs to start doing it the same way.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. Are you at Chelsea? Are you doing something at Chelsea? So what are you doing at Chelsea?
I am not under the, am I on Task Banner or Key Scape? I can't remember now.
I know, I'm like, which one are you under now?
So we're building a garden for a guy called John Warland.
Right.
He's a bit of a wacky designer, and he's done some really interesting stuff over the years, and we've had the opportunity and privilege to work with him in the past, and he asked us to come on board. It's a very last minute sort of build. They've done some preparations, while the RHS have had to do some preparations because it's on a no dig site over in the artisan gardens, and we have got 15 tons of ice coming from Belgium.
That's exciting.
So it's going to look like a big 2.5 meter by 2.5 meter block of ice on the stand. And then there's planting inside, and then there's sort of there's planting around this block of ice, but all the trees are sort of leant over like that, as if they've been sort of pushed aside. Cool. And it's about the planting of sort of under canopies, but the ideas came from the ice caps melting. Yeah. So it's all about the ice cap sort of just coming up and then pushing everything aside, and all the plants being a little bit off skew. And then they've got smaller blocks of ice that have had plants and berries and fauna set inside. And then they'll have those blocks of ice every sort of day on a plinth, showing sort of just like a smaller feature there. It's absolutely quite amazing. And it's a really small site. It's only 6 meters by 4 meters. Yeah. But the impact will be insane, stunning. So. And then after Chelsea, where are you going then? You just do like the show circuit. I should just call on you. What show's next? I was having this conversation with Phil Tremaine the other day, and he goes, "I just think you're mad, Rupert. I just think you're mad." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, you're doing all these show gardens, then you've got Task, and then you've got Keys." I said, "Look, Phil, it's what I love doing." So yeah, then as soon as we break down Chelsea on Sunday, and then on the Monday we start Gardeners World Live and we're doing the feature garden for Francis Tophill. Very nice. So Ruth and myself have been working with Francis very closely over the last 4 or 5 months. So yeah, we're building Francis's garden, as it's called. And it's all about sustainability and reusing, because that's very much Francis's ethos. Yeah. And she's incredibly passionate about it. And So yeah, I'm really excited, and it's to also celebrate. It started off with the anniversary of the BBC being 100 years.
Yep.
And so we want to sort of go back to that era a bit. So we're going a bit sort of industrial, post-industrial, and we've got lots of reclaimed elements within the garden, and sort of greenhouses, and it's all about growing and repurposing. So pretty much everything in the garden is recycled.
Nice.
So yeah,
Is that, and that's your final show, is it? And then you're done for a bit.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then you open Task on the 16th of July.
About 3 weeks later. Yeah. Yeah.
It was funny because
oh my God.
I know, I met Frances at the Gardeners World Spring Fair down at Bewley, but it was quite funny because she gave us our award, and I don't know many Gardeners World. I'm a landscaper, not a gardener. So of course I'm sat there like, hi. She's like, hi. I'm like, what's your name? She's like, Frances. I was like, hi, Frances. Nice to meet you. My name's Paula. And then she went away, and I was like, to my designer, Andy, who's that? He was like, are you for real? I was like, he goes, Frances Tophill. I was like, Googling, oh, she's quite famous. He was like, do you not know anyone? I was like, no, it's not my thing. I've never done this sort of stuff before. She must have thought, is she for real? She doesn't even know who I am.
She won't think that at all, Frances.
I was just like, oh, she was so nice. And I was just like, what's your name? I was like, I don't know anything. It's awful.
Yeah, when you see Frances on the telly, you get what you see.
Yeah.
There's no pretense whatsoever with Frances.
Well, I thought she was lovely. She didn't laugh at me when I didn't know who she was. And then I think there was another designer, another guy who's really famous. And my designer was like, wow, did you just see it so-and-so? I was like, me and my husband were just like, I have no idea who you're talking about and who he is. Can you give us some information, please? Because I don't know. Oh, they could just be standing talking to me. I'd have no idea. Just like, all right, yeah, how are you? Do you want a landscaper?
Yeah. Go on, Paula, get with the program.
I know. I really need to get genned up on Gardeners World, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And so Dan from Design It Landscapes, you might know him. He's coming down to Chelsea with me.
Nice.
Just to sort of, assist with that as well, because, I try and encourage people, that I see potential in, and Dan has a huge amount of potential, him and his brother and his company and many others. And it's just really nice to get people involved because he's never done Chelsea. Yeah. So I just want to get his foot in the door with that. But he's also helping me with Gardeners World as well.
Well, that'd be nice.
So yeah, it's nice to have people that and are going to do a good job. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working with him and his team as well. So because he was at Malvern, we just follow each other around really. I don't know who's stalking. I don't know who's stalking who. Really looking forward to that. So
and the final word then, Rupert, is Task is officially opening on
the 16th of July.
Cool. I look forward to the opening ceremony, to be honest.
Yeah. Get your best frock on, Paula.
Get the best frock out. We're off. So that was a fantastic episode with Rupert from Task. And I think, yes, it's the training, the upskilling, the supporting and the collaborations that are important in the industry. And if you want to upskill yourself in your business, if you want to up-level your landscaping or design business, then come and join me over in the Landscaper Circle. We are closing the doors to all new members on the 31st of May, and we will not be reopening until towards the end of the year. And it will be a very different concept then than it is now, and the prices will increase. So if you are interested, if you've been on the fence for a while and you've been thinking that you love our podcast, you love what we're doing over here at the Landscaper Circle, then please come and join us. Link to join will be in the show notes, or you can always get in touch with me and I can answer any questions you want on a free discovery call. Again, more information in the show notes. Don't miss out, because this is the first time when I've closed the doors, I'm going to do a new member sort of orientation session as well. So that'd be a really good way to network with other people that have just joined, as well as networking with our existing members who are having an awesome journey with TLC. So thank you for joining me on this week's podcast. I've had a lot of fun, and I will see you next week for the next episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. See you later, guys.